All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for Wlbt Plus First Alert Weather Edition. We're just going to dive straight into it because there is a lot to talk about, a lot going on here in the weather world. But right now, it is a quiet start. But there's a lot that is going to be coming up into this weekend, into next week. But for now, things are nice and quiet. Temperatures still a bit chilly. Not too bad, though, if you ask me. I think 46 is about seasonable for this time of day, around this time of year. So I think that it's not a surprise by any means that we're seeing temperatures again fairly cool into the start of our day today.
Yes, it's pretty seasonal for this time of year. Temperatures will top out in the upper 50s and low 60s across much of central and southwest Mississippi, and that is also going to carry into the start of this weekend. Although we are going to start to see more cloud cover move in ahead of an approaching cold front that's expected on Sunday, so not going to be as warm tomorrow afternoon, but still pretty close to average. We're usually seeing around 57 for this time of year, but we're actually going to see temperatures exceed that, especially on Sunday. Highs in the 70s in the afternoon ahead of that front that'll bring us showers and thunderstorms, some of which may be on the stronger side, which is why we have a first alert weather day in place on Sunday. We also have an alert day in place on Monday, but we're looking at two very different scenarios. We're going to kind of be on complete different ends when we talk about what we're expecting later on this weekend and into early next week.
Yeah, Mississippi cannot decide what season it actually wants to be in. We're expecting spring-like conditions for Sunday with temperatures low 70s, severe storms expected. All modes of severe weather are going to be in play. It's just a lower risk for much of central Mississippi, that slight level 2 out of 5 risk zone. That doesn't mean you can just sweep it under the rug, though. That means you do need to be keeping a close eye on it, but then into the day on Monday, you'll see temperatures drop about 40 degrees, where highs will be into the upper 30s and low 40s, which is just crazy that we're going from the 70s to the 30s in the matter of really 12 hours, to be honest with you. We're going to see that rapid temperature drop. The wind gusts are going to be absolutely ridiculous. So it's going to be a windy and cold day on Monday, and then a windy and stormy night on Sunday. So quite a range of what you can expect. And again, it's mainly to the afternoon hours, anywhere from about 2 p.m. to about 6 p.m. is whenever you should start to see some of these storms roll in. It really depends on where you are, because areas off to the south and to the east, you'll be expecting the showers and storms later than areas off into the southern Delta region.
And there may be some ahead of the line. Not an exact copy and paste from what we saw this past week. And I just want to make sure that everyone knows that there is still a risk, but it's not looking to be as extensive as it was last week. But something to keep in mind, there may be a few rogue showers ahead of the main line that moves in earlier in the afternoon. But the main line looks to move in by around 4 or 5 o'clock at least. That's what our early high resolution model runs are showing us for the end of this weekend. But it does look to move out by Sunday night and into early Monday morning. We're pretty much done with the severe threat by Monday morning. However, switching gears, we're going to see a big change in the wind direction. On Sunday afternoon, we'll see gusts upwards of 30, maybe even 40 miles an hour, but that's all going to be coming out of the south. So it's going to bring in Gulf moisture, allowing us to warm up into the 70s. But as we go throughout a Sunday afternoon and into the evening, you'll notice that change in wind direction. It's going to be coming out of the west as that front moves in. It's still going to be gusting upwards of 20 to 30 miles an hour ahead of the front, and then definitely going to pick up even afterwards. And then that wind direction really changes coming out of the north and west. So that's all that cold air, that Arctic air that we've been talking about pretty much all week. And look at that, 30 to 35 miles an hour wind gusts. So while it's already going to be very cold, wind chills are also going to be dangerously low as well. So something to keep in mind for the beginning of next week. I know a lot of schools will be going back on Monday, so something to keep in mind. I really make sure to layer up, especially in the early morning hours, even in the afternoons. Highs are going to struggle to make it past the upper 30s on Monday, so something to keep in mind.
That's crazy to look at, just going from well above average to well below. And again, tomorrow we're going to be seeing another fairly seasonable day, a little bit below average, 3 degrees below, but then we jump up to almost 15 degrees, actually almost 15 degrees above average in some places here in central Mississippi. So I want you to be very cautious of that into Sunday, especially as we get going into the afternoon hours. If it's if it's much warmer and we don't see the rainfall, we could see a little bit more of that severe or a little bit more severe storms towards the afternoon hours compared to if it's a little bit cooler on the low 70s. So again, 1 degree can change everything. And that's also what we're going to be talking about later into this week.
Yes.
Not just with the fact that we have severe storms on Sunday, but also with a chance of wintry precip once we get going into the later portions of next week. So
yes,
there's a lot to talk about in the weather world.
Yeah, so there's a lot of discrepancies still. That is something we really want to preface when talking about winter weather, especially down here, because we do deal with more so freezing rain issues when it comes to wintry mix. So still, the lots of differences. One model not really showing anything. Another model been really going back and forth, not only in timing, but just how much we'll see if it's snow or if it's going to be freezing rain. It's still too early to tell. So that is something we want to talk about when it comes to later next week. We're kind of in this period. I just want to show you here when we're talking winter weather, we're in that 5 to 7 day out time period right now where we're watching the trends. So is it going to be more or less likely that we're going to see some type of winter weather? It's still kind of tough to say right now because there's just been so many discrepancies between our long form models that we typically use. But once we get a little bit closer to time, again, this is that we're in that 5 to 7 day period. But once we get closer to time, primarily, I would say early next week, even maybe Sunday, although we are going to be focusing on that severe threat. Looking Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we'll get a better idea what kind of weather we're going to see, if any, and kind of ironing out all of those details. So that's something to keep in mind when talking about the winter weather. So this weekend, I'm sure people are going to be shopping to go back to school, like all of your after school like lunches or stuff like that. You don't need to go panic buying or anything like that. We are just watching the trends right now, and if we start to see trends looking more so for the winter precipitation that we could see, we'll of course continue to keep you updated, and we'll definitely keep an eye on things over the up and coming days.
Yeah, definitely more so on the Monday and Tuesday. Just with the severe weather threat on Sunday, I think that's something that we should focus on just a little bit first, just because that's what's next in our forecast. So
yes,
I want you to be weather aware for that. But of course, there's a lot of things that go into winter weather forecasting. We're not just looking at models and just precipitation. It all depends really on the temperature. We know there's going to be some moisture in the air, but we don't know
how much,
how high, how cold it's going to get. So it really depends on the temperature. And we'll let you know more so by Monday into Tuesday, and especially by Wednesday at the latest. That's when we'll be looking at the more fine details that you see at the bottom of that. But otherwise, it's nice and quiet here at home.
So good way to wrap up the week. First couple of days of 2025, not looking too bad. But yeah, we'll continue to keep you updated, not only for the severe weather threat, but for the bitter cold we're expecting next week. Elise and Ane will be on later today to give you more updates about all of that. Until then, that's all we have for today.
Yeah, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next week.